Yes, hello. So thank you again for joining me today live at another Janome HQ Instagram Live. My name is Michael Smith, the National Consumer Education Manager of Janome Canada. Oh, and Debbie is here. Oh, it's wonderful to see you, Debbie. It's been a while. So yay, thank you so much for joining me today. And yes, I've got a lot to share with you, so we'll just get right to it. Now, I just wanted to do as a special shout out to my friend Mary. As many of you know, if you're following on Facebook, there's a lot of Janome user groups out there. Janome's got their official Janome Canada Facebook page. Janome America's got Janome Sewing Machines official Facebook page. But there's a lot of Janome Facebook user groups of the various machines. And now they too, they're not officially Janome run, but they're a great resource for more information as well, because then, yes, we all miss Debbie, don't we, Celine? Yes, thank you. They're a great resource for information. So today I'll be using the fabulous MemoryCraft 15,000, and there is a Janome user group called the Janome 15,000 Virtual Guild, and it's all about the 15,000. So if you're a 15,000 owner or considering purchasing that machine, maybe you want to join that Facebook group. Again, it's called the Janome 15,000 Virtual Guild, and one of the administrators is the adorable Mary, and I told her I would give her a shout out today because we're doing the letter Q on the Janome HQ Instagram Live. It's the letter Q, and Mary calls her 15,000 Queen Fifi. So for those of you who name your machines, I personally don't, but I thought it was cute. Mary wanted me to shout out to her and the Queen Fifi for the letter Q. And yes, and Macadori, yes, I'm an owner. Yeah, absolutely. The 15,000 is fabulous. And I wanted to share with you all, I know this will be reverse for you, but look what my adorable friend Laura did last week for my birthday. It says, Queens Stay Golden. Now, I mentioned this as well for our ladies of the Janome 15,000 Virtual Guild. The administrators, of Mary is one of them. She calls herself Rose of the Golden Girls. The other administrator, moderator Lisa, she calls her machine her 15,000 Maggie, and Lisa is Dorothy of the Golden Girls, and then the other admin Jill, she is Blanche. I don't know what Jill calls her machine, but I had made the joke to the ladies saying, well, I don't know who Sophia is of their group, of their Golden Girls, but I said, remember Coco from the pilot of Golden Girls? He was only in the pilot, and then you never saw him again. He was like the houseboy. So I said to them, oh, I'll be Coco then of those 15,000 ladies. So yes, a special shout out to my queens of the Virtual Guild, the 15,000 virtual Facebook group. They're a great group. Many of us, our educators, are members of that group as well. So again, it's very fabulous for information. So special shout out to all of them. Mine is named Joy because she brings me so much happiness. Oh, I love it. Yes. My 15,000 is Calypso and decorated accordingly. Cool. Oh, I love it. Oh, and Amanda's here. Fantastic. So yes, I'm very curious who names their machines and to find out all their names. So let me flip this around, and yes, let's get started to the A to Z with Janome HQ. And again, as I mentioned, today's Janome HQ Instagram Live is brought to you by the letter Q, for, as Mary would say, for her Queen Fifi, her Janome MemoryCraft 15,000. But Q, we're going to talk about the QR ruler foot and a couple of the other ruler foot options. But we're also going to Janome party. I agree, Tanya. It's always a party. We're going to talk about the ruler foot here, the QR ruler foot, but also the QZ Variable Zig-Zag Foot. And there you can see my beautiful sample. I used there's so many Janome rulers now, so that helped me make those beautiful, perfect circles. And then I used the variable zigzag foot to feather that edge to affix this applique. So there's lots of good uses for both of these feet. They come with a number of our machines, generally more top of the line, but they're also available in separate blister packs, so they will be able to work with certain machines. And again, we'll go over all of that. Ooh, Sandra, you lost sound. Can everyone else hear me? For those who have maybe lost sound or something, I always say refresh. Go out of the live and then go back into it. So hopefully everybody else can hear me. Can somebody give me a thumbs up? Oh, Debbie gave me a thumbs up. So are you good for sound? Fantastic. Okay. Excellent, thank you. Now, if you were with me on Monday, I talked about the PDH foot using for free motion, and I showed this little sample here that I feathered in and out. And this was, I could either do it free motion wise with like the PDH foot, for example, and just move my fabric back and forth to do that zigzag, or I used my variable zigzag foot to do this. And then this, I thought it looked like heartbeats, and that I can vary the width of the zigzag, so it can be really wide or really narrow, and then I could do like a straight stitch, and then wide and narrow. So it's very cool. Lovely. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. And so, yes, here's some, variable zigzag examples. It's a very cool function. Again, our Skyline S9, our 9400, 9450, the 15000, the Continental M7 all do this variable zigzag. So again, there I am. So we use our knee lifter, believe it or not, and this is what is going to produce this variable zigzag stitch. It starts as a straight line, and then we can vary the width of that zigzag, and we can do some really cool effects. This is all justified, so the left stays consistent, and then it zigs off to the right, or we do it right down the middle, like there, so it goes wider and then narrow and then wider and narrow. So there's a lot of really cool effects that you can do with this variable zigzag. And here's were some of the circles that I were doing on Monday's show with the PDH foot. I was doing free motion circles using a zigzag stitch. So we can do that with our variable zigzag. I thought this was a cool little thing to do just to jazz up your binding, regular old binding, add a little variable zigzag. And you know, in the miter corner here, it worked out beautifully everywhere else except this last corner, of course. I was struggling to get that miter to turn out just so. So I thought, fine, I'm just gonna variable zigzag right over it and no one will know that my miter isn't perfect. So that was a great application to use it there. And also I joined this is 2 pieces of fabric. When I'm going to do a sample embroidery, and I was sampling some of my thread choices as well, I never want to waste fabric, so I ended up having these 2 scraps of fabric that I joined together, and then I did a variable zigzag right over that join, so it becomes like a decorative element as well to this embroidery sample, and nobody has to know that, hey, I joined 2 pieces of fabric together. So I thought that was another great application for variable zigzag. Let me wave to everybody here. Fabulous. Yeah, so why variable zigzag is, it is the let me wake up my machine there, a little more light. It is the QZ or QZ foot, is the variable zigzag foot. So yes, it's a clear foot, and again, there's very little toe to the feet here. So this is also great if you want to use it for free motion as well. That great visibility. Now this foot comes with like the Memorycraft 15000 quilt maker, which is like the version 3. But if those of us that had version 1 or version 2, and if we updated the software to make it version 3 quilt maker, we had the ability to buy an accessory kit, and it had various pressure feet in it, and this was one of them, this variable zigzag foot. If you have a Skyline S9, for example, the Indigo Skyline S9 has the variable zigzag function, but it didn't come, I don't believe it came with this foot. So you could then purchase this variable zigzag foot in a separate blister pack. And I double checked with our warehouse in Oakville, and yes, we have these in stock. So you could purchase them for the 9mm machines. And if your machine is compatible with this variable zigzag, it's built into the machine. So When in doubt, always consult your manual because it will tell you variable zigzag. And again, it suggests in my 15,000, I've got a version 2 15,000, it suggests I use the PDH foot, which again works wonderfully, but now I can use that variable zigzag, that QZ foot instead, with better visibility. Now, more information about the variable zigzag open toe foot, the QZ. Again, go to the Janome global site. Type that in your browser, and then on the bulletin or on the downloads tab, click that, and then it says Janome bulletin. So this is a bulletin all about how to use the variable zigzag foot. Great, more information there. So lovely. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, for those who tuned in late, never fear. You can always go back and review this live at the Janome HQ IGTV little icon that's on the main screen of the Janome HQ Instagram page, or as well in a day or two, I will be loading this as a video on the Janome HQ YouTube channel. I just loaded P's video, the PDH foot that I did on Monday. That is now up on YouTube. So I just need a day or two to make it a video. So yes, there's the QZ variable zigzag foot. And again, as I mentioned, this is a good foot to use as well for free motion quilting. Now, many of us then came, our machines came with, these are some of the other free motion quilting feet that perhaps came with our machine. We've got a QO for the open toe, or the QC for the closed toe. Or then this is the QV, that's the clear view one. We often would call this as the dinner plate. So maybe your machine already came with these free motion quilting feet, and this one could be another one. Now it fits onto your machine, much like the, into your foot holder, much like the button foot, that it clips onto the back, whoops, clips onto the back here, and then clips up to the front. And then just release it. You hit that little black lever as always. So again, clips to the back first and then to the front. So we'll quickly put that on the machine because there's so much I have to demo today, and tighten that up. So variable zigzag is very fun to use. It will be in our sewing applications menu. So here on my MemoryCraft 15,000 or 15,000 Quilt Maker, I hit my little house button, and the sewing applications is this t-shirt icon, and it basically is the machine asking me, well, what do you want to do? So I can say, oh, I want to go quilting, and that's RW ruler work or variable zigzag. So there is my variable zigzag, and the machine has already set up for me. It's dropped my feed dogs. Again, if I wanted to use the PDH foot, I could, and then there's some selections there for it. But I'm going to go into these selections here, free motion, and it shows the QV icon, but again, I can use my QZ variable zigzag foot. And I want to use this option because up here, it allows me to adjust my presser foot height. That I just want to have the presser foot hovering over my fabric. So depending on like the loft of the batting, for example, the thickness of the layers, then we can adjust it here. That if I really want like double batting or really lofty batting, I would raise it up. Or again, if I just have regular 80-20 batting is what I use the most, then I would leave it at 1.5. If I've got really thin, maybe 100% cotton batting, or if I'm using like a layer of flannel, for example, I don't have to use batting, then I would turn it down really low. The wonderful thing I love is having this default button, so I never have to remember, ooh, what was the machine set at? I can just click that and it's automatically at default. And then whenever you make any selections, then you need to hit OK, and it saves your selection. Now, the one last thing I want to do, we could adjust the width of our variable zigzag. Here, I'll just leave mine at 9 millimeters. And then we can go into the settings. And then I need to go into the sewing category, which on the 15,000, it's the little red sewing machine icon. The blue sewing machine icon is for embroidery settings. But here I'm in my sewing machine icon there, and I'm just going to scroll there to then I see variable zigzag sensitivity. And again, you can do this on the S9 and on your Continental M7. You can adjust the variable zigzag sensitivity because you'll be using your knee lifter in conjunction to form this variable zigzag stitch. So this is the sensitivity of that knee lifter, and if you want to turn it down so it has a more like sensitive touch, or if you want to turn it up so then you really swing your knee lifter over, then you can adjust that there. And then again, click OK to save those settings. Now down here, you'll be able to see, so I've got my knee lifter in. Now you can also adjust your knee lifter position with this little screw here to bring it a little closer to your needle or a little further away, depending on, you know, where your chair is sitting. Some people love to wrap their knee lifter in, this is like a pool noodle, for example, or you wrap like some batting around it to again bring that knee lifter a little closer to your leg, a little closer to where you're sitting, if that's a little more comfortable for you. When I do this variable zigzag, it's a personal preference, but ooh, let me move this all out of the way. It's a personal preference, but I like using my stop start button. I unplug my foot pedal and I just use the stop start button. I also turn down the speed of my machine, because then I find it a little much to do both actions. It's kind of like, you know, chewing gum and patting your stomach at the same time. So again, I've unplugged my foot pedal, so I'm going to use my stop start button. And there is a cool function. Sorry, I'll put this right back so you can see. A cool function that we have as well in the sewing applications is this one stop needle. So then it will take one stitch and then it will stop, so it'll raise up the bobbin thread. So this one stitch stop is a great feature. I like using that when I embroider as well, and then when I do AccuFill quilting, for example. So I can put my foot on the power foot, or no, I disconnected that. I'm gonna hit my stop start button and then that's gonna lower my needle and bring it back up, so then I can grab that bobbin thread, and then I just want to pull a little more of that thread away from me, and then away I go. So I'm going to use my knee lifter and I'm going to swing to, then in this case it will be 9 millimeters, but again you can adjust the width. And then if I bring my knee lifter back straight, I just get a straight line. But then as soon as I start touching my knee lifter, I equate this to picture, do you all remember when Suzanne Summers had those Thighmaster commercials on TV? Then this is like using your Suzanne Summers Thighmaster. I love her. So then the more that you extend that knee lifter, then the wider that zigzag is. So this would be a good way to, as I was demoing on Monday using the PDH darning foot, so you could use your variable zigzag in order to darn a patch, for example, as I did on, let me show you, whoops, like on that sample there. So it's a really fun application to do. Again, check your manual to see if your machine has that capability built into it. So it's very fun. So there's my variable zigzag. So that's our QV foot.